Hello, my loves. Welcome back to the podcast. Today is something I've wanted to record for a while now. It brings together all my loves, human design, Kabbalah, quantum physics, my own thoughts around decision making, how to know where to go in your path, really understanding the energetics of expansion and when life is inviting you into your next level. And so we're going to be speaking about a concept called the surrounding light. I'm going to be talking to you about the opponent voice and most importantly, following your strategy. So, as you know, we all have our own intuitive authority, our own intuitive strategy when it comes to your human design. And so, one of the biggest things and one of the most important parts when you learn about your design is understanding your authority as a decision making tool. And more than that, it's a deconditioning practice. Because when you follow, for example, your gut, you're not just making a better decision, you're building a completely new life, relationship to self, relationship to your intuition. You're choosing your inner knowing over every external voice, including and most often the internal opponent voice. Now, I'm going to be speaking about this today, but I just want to, place in here that oftentimes we think we're reacting to life. It's like, I'm not allowed to do this, or I can't do this, or, it's not the right timing, all of these different things, when actually you're not reacting to life, you're reacting to a thought in your own mind. And you're reacting to the conditioned thought, the limited thought, the illusionary thought that speaks downly to you, that operates in lack, that operates in competition, that operates in honestly just lies, because it's trying to keep you in the same space because that is what's known, that's what's safe. But I have it even a different perspective, even on top of that, that we can say it's your nervous system. Yes, we can say it's the ego wanting to stay in the same place. But also as well, now I see the energetics totally different in the fact that by moving through that, by expanding beyond the limited beliefs, by expanding beyond what you've always done, your comfort zone, that is the whole point. That is your expansion. Who you become through the friction, through the resistance is the gift, because that's what you're here for. And so all day long we can say, oh, I wish everything was a different way, or I wish I could feel a certain way, or I wish I had this capacity. Well, the only thing stopping you is the thoughts in your mind. It's the words in your mind. That's what you're reacting to. And what we're doing within the human design experiment, within following your strategy and authority, which is, for many people, follow your gut, trust your emotional authority, your splenic, all of these beautiful, beautiful ways that we connect to the body. It's just really at the end of the day, it's somatic awareness and trusting where you feel called. You have an intuitive inkling, an intuitive calling. You have a desire there. There's curiosity there. It just seems to stick around. And by trusting that over the loud mind, which let's just place in here, that voice, that opponent voice is what the Kabbalah speaks about. It often even is masked as logic. It's masked as rationality. It's masked as, it sounds like you. But let me just tell you, if you ever have a disempowering thought, it's an illusion. It is not true. But the whole thing is that it just keeps on getting repeated and repeated and repeated. And then we start to think that this inner friction, this inner resistance, we don't see it clearly enough. We don't see that the resistance is welcome. The resistance is a good sign because it means you're on the precipice of your expansion, about to meet your next level. And this is what I'm going to be speaking today around, is your surrounding light that invites this in and you can't escape it. There's a surrounding light wanting for you to expand into, and even just envision a light surrounding you and you're wanting, or it wants you, or the energy wants you to claim it, to claim this new level, to claim the gifts and the qualities that are ready, that think of it as like a suspended animation ready for you. And what it will do is it will create resistance within you. It will create friction. It will create a desire for more. It will create a curiosity. And so many people think that there's something wrong when that surrounding light is coming in with like a new desire, a different perspective, a agitation around how you're already doing things. Like it will make the current environment or what you currently are and do, it will make it like you want to change from it. And we want to be embracing that. It's not a sign that you need to burn everything down. It's just embracing that there is a surrounding light asking you to expand into it. And when you do, like everything in your current world will also feel good. It's just it needed to create that resistance to get you to move, that friction, that restlessness, that desire. So let's be really honest when it comes to your authority. And people, including myself at the beginning of my human design experiment, I got it so wrong. People think that if it has any form of resistance or it doesn't feel good or some form of like, oh, I don't feel 100% comfortable or excited about this, that does not mean that something is not for you. I want to really normalize this. That when you are following your strategy and authority, when you're following your gut, when you're following your excitement, when you're following your curiosities, when you're following your intuition, when you're following, whatever your authority is, there will be resistance if it is important. Every time that you honor your design over conditioning, over your comfort zone, over what you've already just seen to be true, if it is your next level, it will bring up resistance. It will bring up mental resistance. There will be discomfort in the body. There will be fear. There will be discomfort. There will be doubt. There will be distractions, because that is the most important piece. And who you become through moving through that is the whole point. So because your conditioned self, or the what has been known as safe, has been really stabilized in your body, we sometimes get, and as well, the opponent voice will come in, it will sound like you, and it will say, oh, this isn't the right thing. This feels too hard. This feels too unknown. When in reality, you have access to surrounding light within you or outside of you. So let's go deeper into this. I actually recently posted about this on Instagram, so definitely check out. I did a carousel where we have our internal light. We have the gifts, the qualities, who we are that we have already earned. We've already done these scary things. There was a point where your life currently right now was scary. And I want you to acknowledge that. Maybe you're still you're in an in-between period. Maybe you're in a corporate role. Maybe you're already started a business, or maybe you're a mum, what have you. At one point, what your current reality is would have been stretchy. And I just want to remind you that you have created the qualities, the gifts, the abilities, the capacity that has meant that this is your everyday now. Every day you get to experience this because you've quote unquote energetically earned it. And I can give an example. I remember the first time that I gave a human design reading, and it was so petrifying, so scary. I laughed my way through it. I did it with a friend, and she was so beautiful and kind, but it was like, it was so outside of my comfort zone. I'd never done anything like that. I had so much self-judgment. I had so much imposter syndrome, all of the different things. And now I can safely say that I can do a human design reading in my sleep. I don't need to prepare. I look at the chart and I instantly start channeling. And I would say that it's in my mastery. Obviously, there's always more and more, but I would say I know my shit when it comes to a human design session, a human design reading. And that's because I have created that. I've accessed that. At one point, that was terrifying for me. At one point, it was terrifying for me to show up with on a microphone or talk. It was terrifying for me to public speak. As well, let's do more work examples. Public speaking, holding spaces, running courses, running retreats, all of the things that I find very quote unquote easy now. Like I can show up, I know what I'm doing. There's always greater development, and I'm always improving, always bettering. And I definitely haven't reached the full potential in any of that. But at the same time, I would say it's 100% in my internal light. I can do it in my sleep. I don't register it as hard anymore. It's all the qualities, the capacity, the strength that I've built. And that happened when I moved through discomfort. That happened because I dared to feel afraid and still do it. I dared to feel unsure and still do it. And this is what I want to tell you. All of those things that I mentioned, I had an intuitive inkling. I had this desire. Desire is intuitive. Your desire is divine. They say the greater the desire, the greater the light can come into your body, into your awareness, into your life. And so you claim something for yourself, not just by learning about it or by reading about it, but living it. And then it becomes part of you. It's within you. You have access to that light. Like, as I said, Doing a reading or running a retreat, that was at one point my surrounding light. I hadn't accessed it yet. But what happens once you reach a certain level, and part of being a human is to have a growth evolutionary experience, what it will do is that life will stretch you to expand into your next level qualities, your next level gift, your next level capacity, your next level self that you haven't yet lived, but exists, your higher self. It's not something that you have to, I guess, that's different from you or that you can't access in this moment. It's right now when you lean into the stretchiness, when you lean into the willingness to grow into it, that's when you're able to literally envision expanding into greater surrounding light. And the reason why it's called surrounding light is because it's not yet stabilized inside of you yet. It's the ways, the realities, the qualities that are now available to you, but you just have not accessed it consistently. And it will come knocking. And this is what I really wanted to speak about in this episode, is that your surrounding light, that like quality of like confidence, of empowerment, of abundance, of love, of impact, all of these different things, it will come knocking. I used to get down on myself, or like not down on myself is the wrong word, but I used to think like, do I not appreciate things? Why can't I just like create something and then be satisfied in that indefinitely? Why can't I just like create one thing and then just keep selling that one thing? Or why is there always this desire to like expand greater? And then I realized that is the soul journey. And it's not that you from an ego perspective is desiring that. It's because this surrounding light, the part of the human evolution, is knocking on your door saying like, hey, remember this lifetime that you signed up for? We're ready, we're going. And it creates this gentle, and sometimes not so gentle, pressure asking you to expand. So this energy of your potential doesn't wait for when you're ready. It will create friction. If you ignore it, it will make things feel really restless where you are right now, and it will be a pull towards something that you can't explain. It will create discomfort in your current reality so that you shift and change. And that's because it's the universe's way of loving you and inspiring you into this higher direction. But what do people do when they feel that discomfort, when they feel that resistance? Again, resistance is a good sign. I always, and I swear by this, I've spoken about this so many times, but I just feel like we always need reminding. Resistance, mental resistance is a good sign. When you have an intuitive calling towards something and you feel like it just sticks around, you feel called towards it, and you have mental resistance, it's like, oh, am I ready? Is this the right thing? What have you? That is the best sign. If you don't have a mental resistance, I would argue that it's on your same level and it's not actually going to be the most transformative thing. So remember, it has to be two-pronged. It needs to have the intuitive desire, the intuitive inkling. Something's here. I can't quite put my finger on it. You know, you can't prove it yet. You can't prove your intuition until it's in hindsight. I've had, even just using the example of the expansion, our new space, I have so many women share to me that they are so grateful that they joined. And, it's just so interesting. And the ones that really get the most out of it is often the ones that had some form of resistance coming into it. And yeah, I just had one specifically where she was saying, let me get it up. Okay, so she said, I'm not exaggerating when I say that within 3 days in and I already feel a shift. I have said this before, but I can't stress enough how amazing and expansive this energy is. I haven't experienced something even remotely similar with anyone else. I had so much resistance coming, but I had this pull to join. And I think because part of me was trying to convince myself that this was in the big lead and I'm in such a small pond. But I decided to listen to the voice and enroll anyway. And I'm so glad I did. Like, I was the same. I remember that the things that have really transformed and changed my life and shifted the trajectory have put me into a higher timeline. I have resisted. And I just want to speak about how when we misinterpret the resistance or the friction or the surrounding light, when it comes knocking and it says, like, we're coming, like, grow, like, we want you to move through this discomfort and this fear, because who you become through that is the point, is the expansion. So we want to embrace that discomfort of expanding and say, bring this on. If it means I have more light incoming, if it means that something is incredible on the other side of it, bring it on. And I'll even share with you, I'm creating something at the moment, an in-person experience, and it's scaring the shit out of me. And there's no rhyme or reason why. Like, it really doesn't make sense because, I've done in-person things. I run retreats, for God's sake. But there's something about this that it feels stretchy. And I just know that that's the most important thing that I'm meant to do, because this is right now a surrounding light, and I'm going to be soon to be, who knows, in the next couple of months, it can become an internal light. And so what people tend to do when they feel that resistance, that fear, that doubt, that worry, is that they tend to smallen, they tend to procrastinate, they tend to shy away from discomfort. But you want to do the opposite. The moment you walk through the discomfort, you face the fear, you take the step, you show up in a way that scares you. Like, this is not about doing more, by the way. This can sometimes be doing less and being smarter about where your time goes. We have a woman inside of the expansion, and she's being invited to shift up the way that she does business. So it's not always her hands across everything. And what I mean by that, it's almost like the business needs to outgrow her as the founder. And there's a tendency to keep things smaller so it feels more quote unquote manageable to the ego, when often the biggest bottleneck in business is the founder itself. And I can say this about myself, like, even I'm expanding the team for more support in social media. I can see I'm the bottleneck in my own social media. I'm 100% going to be the one that's showing up and sharing on there, but I am bottlenecking my own social media in the way that I just have, like, I've had to control the whole process, and it needs to go beyond me now. And so, yeah, we can have parts of the business that we hold on to the way that you've always done it, but the surrounding light is saying, like, hey, your energy is meant for bigger, so it needs to shift and change. And when you do that, you make that surrounding light an internal light. It's now part of you. And then a new layer of surrounding light appears, because that's just how growth works. So this is about accessing greater freedom, greater love, greater peace. And when times are asking to be changed, it's because something is wanting to come in. A quality of you, this is the most important thing. Ask, what quality is being invited to be created through me because of this? And just remember that life will never give you something that you can't handle. It's a spiritual law. Look back on everything you have been through and everything you once thought would break you. You handled it every single time. And you came out with something you didn't have before. You came out with greater gifts, greater capacity, greater resilience. So when the discomfort of that surrounding light shows up, because it will, this is your invitation to pause, not to distract, not to run from it, not to reach for what you've always done or external validation or all the things. No, breathe. Come back to your body. Remind yourself that this is happening for you and through you. And when you move through the discomfort, you can consciously step towards it and ask, what is this quality being invited to develop within me? Because remember, the discomfort only usually lasts a few seconds when you stop resisting it. We say, I'm afraid, but I'm still moving forward. I'm afraid, but I'm investing. I'm afraid, but I'm celebrating myself moving through this. I'm afraid, but I am going to change. Because you didn't come here to just coast and stay the same. You didn't come here to, tick off of like, I stayed consistent to one thing my whole life. No, you came here to experience the full potential of who you are. And not from a place where you're needing to prove or that it's from lack or from fear. No, but from a genuine soul desire to grow, to create, to expand. And your surrounding light is inviting you that right now. So just see that there is an energy moving that's asking to expand into you, and like, who do you become in that? And just notice when we have this opponent voice that shows up, because this is part of being human. As you expand, you're going to have the energy of the opponent voice. The greater the light, the greater there can be instances where darkness can be allured around the lightness. I have a woman I know, she's just bought a warehouse and, long story short, all this body corp stuff happening. And it's like, look, you are accessing greater light. The universe is inviting you to, can you sustain this? Can you hold this? Can you be the true business owner that you are? Can you expand into this like next level self that's about to be opening this warehouse space? She's going to create this creative studio. It's like, can you hold this type of friction? Because this is what someone that has that much access to light needs to be able to hold. And so you can have these like oppositional energies around you, but also as well, the oppositional energy within you can just be like, oh, let's just quit. Let's just sell it all. No. Can you hold this? This is growing you in this moment. And so when we see that who you become through the certainty that you cultivate through this, and by the way, you have to love yourself through this so much. You have to love the universe so much through this. You have to love the opponent voice through this. You have to love the fearful part through this. You have to love the situation that's happening and seeing that all that is happening right now is strengthening and expanding your vessel. And this too shall pass. And that you are actually gaining qualities, realities, gifts through this. And so what I want to really make the strong distinction here is that when you have some friction, some internal resistance, and a genuine intuitive desire, that is the most important and significant thing to move towards, to move through. And this goes against everything you even think, even as well, like people, that's why I'm so passionate about sharing human design in a more expanded way, because people end up staying in really small lives because they're like, oh, well, my strategy and authority, like I don't feel 100%. I don't feel like a hell yes. I don't feel like so excited and so like in flow and so all the things. Yeah, because there's some resistance there that you need to move through. That's actually how it works. And it's when you understand the energetics and the laws, you can move and transform timelines so much quicker. I just see it like I sometimes I feel sad for people learning human design in other places. And often people will come, not to my own horn, but will come to our certification afterwards. But even like it really is understanding the energetics of living your design and also how you are being strengthened and initiated and inspired and activated through the process and how the mind works. The mind is that trainer that you almost basically can do the opposite of what the opponent voice, the opponent mind is saying. As I said, like when I have, if it feels reactive, if it feels like all or nothing or life or death or just that fear state, that worry state, that is illusion. You do not want to be creating behavior from that. We want to be grounding back into the body and just understanding that right now you're crossing a threshold. You're accessing your surrounding light. You're accessing your potential of gifts, realities. And that sometimes requires a bit of pressure. But we want to be creating proactive pressure. We want to celebrate that pressure. This is not, just feeling frustrated and burning yourself out. No, I'm talking about like are we doing this? Are we going? Is this happening? Yes, I think like I feel called towards this. It feels true. This feels right. I don't really know why. I have so much uncertainty. Amazing. Like I celebrate that for people because that's where you're going to access a greater timeline. You're going to access a higher timeline. So whenever you're in fear or doubt or lack or you're on the precipice of your next expansion, I just want to remind you of these 3 steps. We want to have, number 1, a true desire for the light, for the potentiality, for what you're expanding into. Like knowing like if I want to feel more free, so I am willing to move through this fear of rejection right now. I'm willing to feel the discomfort of being seen right now. I'm willing to be afraid as I invest right now. I am willing because I have this desire for what I'm creating, for this light that's wanting to come in through this surrounding light. Number 2, embracing it all. It's not about ignoring it. It's not about just forgetting about it somatically. No, embracing it and being in certainty that all of that is happening and like stepping into that proactively is when you're in your power. This is where you're operating at a higher frequency. I've spoken about this a lot on the podcast, or maybe not, maybe more inside my spaces, where your frequency is what's creating your reality. So if you can be in a space of true desire, number 1, a space of certainty that what you're stepping into proactively is for your highest good. And then number 3, increasing the love, increasing your self-love, loving the process, loving the universe, even though it feels uncertain. Those 3 energies, that is like high frequency. That's what you want to be creating from. That's what magnetizes people. And it's not spiritual bypassing. You've actually created that experience in your body. Remember, your frequency, your energy is what's creating your reality, not just what you say or do. Not if you just like, oh, I'm doing the right strategy. No, it's the energy behind it. But when people are in fear and doubt and lack, often those things of desire, of light, of certainty, of love, that's often the things that leave people's awareness straight away. They want to go to a quick hit of validation or numbing or what's the measurements or I need to know or what's the business plan. So it is so counterintuitive or counter culturally, but this is where you get to ground into. This is a true spiritual up level. But just notice, we don't want to be diminishing the certainty, the love, the light, the desire in the pressure. This is what needs to be maximized through it. And then you start embracing the potentiality, the surrounding light. So this is how you step forward practically just now, while you're here. What is the surrounding light inviting from you right now? What's it activating? Is there a thing you want to create or a person you want to reach out to? Like, what's some practical steps now? And how can you start moving towards that? Even if it feels uncomfortable, even if it feels scary, even if it feels you have doubt. Trust me, it's going to be something that you've been procrastinating on, or it's something you've been thinking about, but it keeps getting put down and down in your to-do list, or you keep talking yourself out of it, or just for some reason you just don't have energy towards it. That's the opponent voice that's winning. Remember that opponent voice can sound like logic. It can sound like, let's do it tomorrow. Oh, you've had such a big day. It's okay. Or let's focus on this other productive procrastination. You know, we really have to see where that opponent energy is taking you off track because it's illusionary. So follow that strategy and authority and be okay that there's going to be discomfort in it. That is the best sign. There was so much discomfort when I first enrolled to my first human design training. I was shit scared. I had to fly to London for it. I had no money at the time. I was working in this startup and I remember being a bit secretive about it. I didn't want anyone to know what I was doing. So I was all secretive about it actually. And I even remember my sister, it fell on the time that my sister was visiting. So it was like another form of resistance of like, should I not go? It's like all the way in London and it's really expensive and I don't even know what I'm doing with it. And, you know, my sister's visiting. I was living in Berlin at the time. My sister's visiting. I won't be able to get time off work, all of these things. Resistance. And I'm so grateful that I moved through that. I ended up having my gorgeous gay bestie, Nick. It's so funny. The most important men in my life are both called Nick. He looked after my sister. He like took her out and, you know, showed her the town. She was staying for a while just when I went away for the training. And yeah, I'm so grateful I did because it changed the trajectory of my life. Now I see it's the best thing when you have resistance. I think about the things I didn't have resistance to and I just did it because it's like, oh, whatever, I'll do it. It was the least transformative things. So intuitive desire. You feel a stretchiness. You feel like capacity is wanting to be met. You feel like you're expanding into greater gifts. You're expanding yourself. That is always going to be your best investment. So please trust that. Okay, my loves. I got to jump into a session, but thank you so much for listening. Really, really happy to be sharing back on the podcast. We're opening the doors soon for the certification. It's going to be starting in June, July. We've already got people joining. I love how we've got some of our beautiful women already coming in because you can jump straight into the modules. Yeah, exciting times. I'm heading off to Europe as well. Firstly, we're going to go to a remote Indonesian island, and then we're going to Europe. Very excited. Okay, my loves, speak soon.